These are the 7 nootropics that work for my entrepreneur patients and also including myself. The very first one has to do with looking at things that I see that become deficient and that help drastically, and that is glycine as well as glutamine. Both of those are very important amino acids that help build a lot of different neurotransmitters and are necessary nutrients that help us to stay focused, motivated, driven, because it helps build a lot of those different neurotransmitters. And so when I do test for these for my patients, I do find that when it is deficient and we do supplement it, it does make a big difference in someone's focus and energy. But even more so, more that clarity of mind that a lot of entrepreneurs are needing, myself included, to be able to have that consistency throughout the day. This can be a big game changer for a lot of people. The second one has to do with a very important thing to do with dopamine. So everyone thinks that dopamine is the thing that we need to target directly with stimulants, but there's other things that do build dopamine that is required. And one of the things I see constant over and over again that is deficient is phenylethylamine, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter that initially does help make dopamine. And so one of the things that you can incorporate and that I find that's so beneficial even for myself and many of my entrepreneur patients is by using DL-phenylalanine, because DL-phenylalanine helps improve phenylethylamine levels, but also ultimately increases and makes tyrosine, which tyrosine then will help make L-DOPA, and then L-DOPA will help make dopamine. So what it's going to be doing is it helps you to be more motivated and driven because essentially it is helping increasing dopamine levels. Third nootropic that I have found really beneficial for me and a lot of my entrepreneur patients is addressing the mental and physical burnout that a lot of us deal with when we're running a business. And this can be a number of reasons of why this happens. And the one that I see creep up over and over again is having adrenal insufficiency syndrome. So what is that? That is when we test for and see what is going on with the adrenals. Where is your cortisol levels at? Cortisol is what gives us energy. It also can impact our focus throughout the day. And so when I test for this, I notice that a lot of times entrepreneurs tend to be really burnt out and they will have low cortisol levels where it'll be low in the morning, first thing in the morning, as well as in the afternoon and sometimes early evening. And so the way to combat this and help improve the energy and focus throughout the day and also dealing with managing stress is using something like adrenal desiccated or adrenal bovine. This can help improve those levels. It can help improve energy and focus throughout the day. Typically, I will only recommend doing this for about 3 months, and that should be sufficient enough to get your adrenals back in order where they need to be to deal with all the demands that you're dealing with as an entrepreneur. Now, you need to be working on other things to give your adrenals a break, such as good sleep, meditation, limiting a lot of different stressors in your life. That is the long game that you need to be doing. And this is something like a temporary fix, but it can be a big game changer for your focus and energy. Now, speaking of stress, it is something that us entrepreneurs deal with a lot. And so another great nootropic to use is rhodiola rosea. Now, why I like rhodiola rosea is, let's say your cortisol levels are spiked. And this does happen a lot with entrepreneurs because they're too high stress, not necessarily having low cortisol levels, but too high levels of cortisol. And rhodiola rosea has been known to decrease that to help manage a lot with stress and therefore can help with having focus throughout the day. And so it's a great nootropic to use that I found very effective with my patients. Now, if you want to get my full protocol on nootropics for entrepreneurs, then you should look to get access to that. And you can do that in the description below and just click on that link. Now, the fifth one, I would say this one applies a lot to if you are 40 and above, but sometimes I do see this creep up for people in their 30s. Now, it has to do with memory. Us as entrepreneurs, we got to be sharp. We got to have our memory intact. And it's something that we look for when we're looking to using nootropics. And 2 different types of things that I do see deficient that impact our memory, especially if you're in your 40s, is both serine as well as choline. Both of those, when they're low, it is an earlier sign that you are starting to have some issues with your memory. But you can supplement it in using phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylcholine. Both of those can help improve memory, and it also can help with focus as well. And it's great for helping improving cognitive performance throughout the day, especially if you are deficient in these areas. And so it's great to test for these to see if it is an issue. The 6th nootropic that I probably use pretty much with almost all of my entrepreneur patients, and that is L-theanine. Now, the reason why I like L-theanine so much is because it's a great neutralizer. It does help when things are spiked. So if you have too high levels of dopamine or serotonin or GABA, it can help lower that down. Now, if they're too low, it will help bring it into a more even balanced level. And another really big one has to do with what it does to the brain. What it does, it improves alpha waves. There's different brainwave activity that we have. And being in an alpha wave state helps us to be more relaxed, but it's those alpha waves that you want to have more of, because what it does, it gets rid of all the distractions. It helps us to be in that more hyper-focused state, to be really productive throughout the day and more focused. And the research has shown that L-theanine improves alpha brainwave activity. It has also been shown in research that, and I've experienced this as well when I take L-theanine or when I have my patients take it, is it gets you in a really relaxed state without it being sedative, because there's lots of different herbs that can make you feel very sedative, and that is not something that we want as entrepreneurs. We want to be sharp in our A game, and so L-theanine can help us relax, not be so stressed, and so therefore we can actually get the work done that we need to. And the seventh one, this is a combo that I will use when I do some lab testing to see, okay, looks like that you're deficient in phenylethylamine or tyrosine. Also, maybe your dopamine levels are low, whatever that might be. Especially if I see all three of those categories, I will use something called Dopatone Active. Now, why I like this one, and I found it to be a big game changer for my entrepreneur patients, is because it's addressing all three of those that possibly might be deficient. And so it helps improve the dopamine because it has phenylethylamine in it. It has DL-phenylalanine in it. It has vitamin B6 in it, which is an important cofactor for helping making a lot of these different neurotransmitters. And it has L-dopa in it, which directly does help make dopamine. So it's great for improving motivation, drive, and focus. And so I'll use this if the lab testing that I use do help with this. Now you might be wondering, okay, what's all this lab testing I should be doing? What should I do as an entrepreneur when it comes to lab testing? Well, you should watch this video next where I talk about the critical labs that you should be running if you're an entrepreneur. So you should watch this video next.